Hey friends, I have some news for you about a new law that's going to impact most entrepreneurs in the United States of America. And this new law is the Corporate Transparency Act. So consider this video the Corporate Transparency Act 101. I want to tell you exactly what you need to know about this particular new law and how it's going to impact you. Here's the background. This new law was established at the beginning of this year, January 1st, 2024. And essentially, it's all about stopping people from fraud and all types of tax evasion that's happening. Its whole goal is to increase transparency between entrepreneurs, LLC owners, business owners, and the government. And so essentially what they're asking for is for people to be transparent about what they own. Hence the title Corporate Transparency Act. Now, when you hear that, you might think that this is just for the big businesses, but surprisingly, the big businesses aren't really as impacted. There's actually an exception for them. This is really about the smaller businesses. This is about, anonymous LLCs and small LLC owners here and there, and people who have tried to use anonymous companies for fraud and evasion and things like that. So here's the rundown. All right, January 1st, this new rule was put into place, and essentially every LLC, every corporation, all of these entities that were created before this date are required to report new information about their owners. And every LLC, corporation, and different types of entities going forward will also be required to do this. Now, there are some exemptions, like I mentioned before. So larger companies that have 20 or at least 20 full-time employees or have grossed up to $5 million in terms of their gross receipts, if they're publicly traded, or some nonprofits as well, they are all exempt. There is also an exemption for inactive companies, but it's not as clear as you would think it is. So it's really making sure that you have certain requirements, like you've been inactive for a certain number of years, and that you haven't made any changes to your ownership in the past year and things like that. So there might be exemptions there, but you need to make sure that you actually fall within it. So for example, if you have sent or received $1,000 in the past year, you do not qualify for this exemption. That means that you are required to do what this new law says. All right, so let's get into that. What are the requirements under the Corporate Transparency Act that impact you the most? Well, the major change is that you are now required to file what we call the beneficial ownership report, right? And what is this? This is a way where you're giving information about who you are in terms of an owner, right? How you benefit from the creation of this company. So for people who created their LLCs before January 1st, 2024, right, you have a year to make this filing. So most of my clients, I've been helping them, encouraging them, helping them complete this reporting to make sure that they're in compliance. But if you've created your LLC from 2024, January 1st, 2024 going forward, you have 90 days. This 90-day timeline is only going to be at this time just for the year of 2024. After 2025, when we start January 1st, 2025, that 90 days is going to turn into 30 days. They tried to do that this year, but it didn't really work because people still didn't know the rules. So they changed it back and they extended it. So if you are watching this video and you create your LLC after this, within 90 days of creating your LLC or your corporation, you need to make sure you file this beneficial ownership report. And what does that entail, right? Well, the major thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to provide information about who you are, your name, your address. You're even going to be required to submit some identification. I've had to do it for my own businesses. I've had to do it for my clients. And what does that look like? It might be that you're going to have to submit a picture of your driver's license. For some people, they have to submit a picture of their passport, right? You are required to provide information about the owners and their identification. And this is for people who might not even have 100% ownership. So let's say you own about 25%, right? That's enough for you to need to report that you are a beneficial owner of an entity, right? Any owner who directly or indirectly exercises control, and they've quantified this by saying you have at least 25% ownership. Now, here's the big part, and a lot of people were pushing this at the beginning of the year because it's serious, but it's not something I want you to be scared about. But I do want you to understand that if you fail to do this, if you don't comply, there are civil and potentially criminal penalties for willfully failing to file your beneficial ownership report, right? And this includes up to $500 a day for continued violations. So it's really something significant. The maximum that they've placed at this time is $10,000. So they're, $500 a day up to $10,000, but it's really something critical for you to keep in mind. So I want to make sure that you understand that the Corporate Transparency Act does in fact impact you, and you do need to take it seriously, and you do need to file your beneficial ownership report. Now, there is some language in it that's kind of confusing. You have to figure out, am I a reporting company? Am I not a reporting company? Is this the company? Like, there's just some nuanced language that I have found to be a little confusing for people who are trying to navigate it. That's why I've done it for my clients. Now, if you are trying to make sure that you're complying with the Corporate Transparency Act, as well as other laws that might be impacting you, and you need assistance, check out my website, connect with us. We'd love to see if we can help you, or find a legal professional in your jurisdiction who can help you make sure that you comply with these rules. You don't want to be caught messing up with these things. The implications and the consequences could be costly. All right. Now, if you are interested in finding out other places where your business might be vulnerable, we've created this really great assessment called the Business Vulnerability Quiz. And when you take it, it's a couple of questions, but you'll be able to find out exactly where your business might be vulnerable and take action. After you finish answering the 10 or so questions, you're going to get a customized results page that tells you exactly what you need to know in terms of what you should do in order to make sure your business is not as vulnerable as it is. All right, so let us know if that's something that you want. Go ahead. I'll put the link in the description box below. If you want to keep up with us, you want to join our newsletter, I'll keep that link there below as well. But this is the channel where we talk about the best ways to establish your business, protect your name, and keep your profits. Talk to you soon. Bye.